Hey everyone, welcome back to a live edition of the Opinions, Facts, and Stats podcast. I'm your host, Tyler. Now, today it is just me. My buddy, he's traveling right now, so he cannot make it, but that's okay. We're going to get right into this. Now, last episode, we weren't able to go as in depth on the NFL Combine, but today I would like to discuss that a little bit more, right? Now, with the NFL Combine, a lot of prospects from all over the country come in there and they try and prove their skills, right? Through measurements, through different agility drills, athletic drills, whatever it may be. And the biggest thing that my biggest takeaway from the Combine was that the two positions that stood out to me that were the most athletic and the most impressive were the cornerback group and the tight end group. Now, as a Patriots fan, I can say for sure that, I definitely see it as a plus for us because corner is definitely a position where I think we need to really get the best position we possibly can. Now, the thing about that is I don't know if we're necessarily going to take a top corner at 14. I think the bigger position is tackle. Now, corner is so deep in this draft that you could look at taking a tackle at 14, right? Then possibly in the second round, looking at maybe a safety, a receiver maybe. But corner, I really could see the Patriots taking somebody later on, like third round, probably third round. Now, if one of those top corners drops to at 14, right, which I don't know will happen, but if it does, then I feel like the Patriots have to heavily consider it just because it is a position of need. Where Jonathan Jones, we don't know what's going to happen to him in free agency. I do know that today he was not tagged, so he is a free agent. He can negotiate with anybody, but there has been reports that the Patriots definitely are trying their best to keep him. Now, bringing him back would just be a depth move, in my opinion. He has been tremendous on the Patriots, right? Slot corner who played the outside. Now, when he played the outside this past year, he was really good. He was. But he is undersized. And I feel like sometimes when you go up against those bigger guys like, a DK Metcalf, a Chase Claypool, a AJ Brown, like those kind of guys, it does make it a little bit harder for him. And that's why I feel like you need to get size in this upcoming draft. Now, this combine, there were so many corners with length, right? I'm going to give a couple, in my opinion, that really stood out to me, and that was Deonte Banks from Maryland. He's about 6'2", a little over about 205. Now, he has some tremendous length. Here, I think he measured in like a 34 inches in length, like 33, 34, so he's got length, right? When I watched his tape, he proved to me that he is great at press man coverage, right? There was one highlight that I watched that the receiver couldn't even get off the line. I mean, it was like he was doing a special team, like being one of the gunners and the blockers. This guy couldn't get off the line, and Banks was just all over him. Now, he's a guy that I think his stock has skyrocketed because he had a tremendous combine. So I definitely could see him sneaking into the late first round. Now, somebody that I think could stay back and potentially be a third round, second round, maybe type of corner. That's Julius Brents, Northwestern. Kansas State. My bad. He is about 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", so he's a big boy. He's 6'3", 6'4", but yeah, a big boy. He had the longest arm length at the combine for corners. He's a little raw. He ran about a 4.54, if I was mistaken. About a 4.54. So it wasn't bad. I mean, for his height and length, I think that was very doable. I think he's definitely someone to target in the second, third round. That's why I don't feel the Patriots are going to reach for a corner in the first round. Again, if that top guy comes into play, sure, go ahead, take him. That's fine. But I don't think they need to. I think tackle is definitely more important to me. That's just what I think. Now, we have our top tackles, where you got Broderick Jones, you got Anton Harrison, Peter Skoronski, Paris Johnson, right? Now, if one of those guys drops to us at 14, they have to heavily consider taking them, right? Because you need a tackle. If it's left or right, I don't care. Um, Most of those guys that I named off are left tackles, and I think that it would be better to get a left because you want to put Trent Brown back to the right side. I think Trent Brown is definitely a better player at right tackle. He can play left, but this past year showed you that he didn't like it. He'd rather be a right tackle. So I think that is definitely a plus. I think you definitely need to check that out and see if one of these guys who does 14 can beat the guy. Now, I want to dissect them a little bit here. My favorite, actually, in this entire O-line class, well, two of them are guys that maybe you don't really hear about much, and that's Anton Harrison from Oklahoma and Darnell Wright from Tennessee. Now, Anton Harrison's a left tackle and Darnell Wright's a right tackle, right? But Darnell Wright was in the SEC with Tennessee. He got exposure, meaning like he played against some of the top guys, right? And Darnell Wright is just nasty. He's nasty. And what I mean by that is that he's a dog. Like, he plays hard through the whole whistle, right? He isn't the fastest guy. He isn't the most fluid, but he's strong. He's a really good pass protector. Definitely needs some help with the run block. And again, a lot of that is technique issues, I think, from watching this tape. But like I said, Adrian Clem is here now from Oregon. I think he's definitely going to be able to help with those kind of technical issues. Now, Anton Harrison, same thing. Great pass blocker. He's a little more athletic than Darnell Wright, but both very good in their own right. Anton Harrison, actually, I think he raised his stock to the first round. I really do. And that's where I feel like if let's say those top 4 guys go, right? And you're at 14, you say, you know what, I really need a tackle. So I could really see the Patriots trade back. They usually do this. Now, trade back to the 20s, like early 20s. I think like mid to early 20s would be a great place to get Anton Harrison or even Darnell Wright. Now, it may be a reach, but let's look to last year. Cole Strange. He was a reach. People were like, wait, why is this guy coming in here and doing all that? I don't think that's a bad thing. You need to just get the guy that you want, right? And if Bill Belichick thinks that one of those two are the guys, great, go for them, take them, 100%. I will be 100% fine with that. Now, the other thing that I have to say is, Peter Skoronski, right? I need to get into him super quick because, in my opinion, Peter Skoronski is the most technically sound tackle, right? What that means is he is tremendous with his hands, great footwork, great leverage techniques. He's just very good in his own right there, okay? The other thing, though, is he is a shorter in length, right? He isn't the biggest build. He's about 6'4", but he's barely 300. I don't even think he's 300 pounds. I think he's like 298. So he's light. He's light for a left tackle. But sometimes with those tackles, you want that big flashy guy, like the Broderick Jones, the guy who ran a 4.98. Everyone was like, oh my God, this is the guy. You need him. Yes. But again, he's a 1-year starter. So same thing with Paris Johnson, right? Anton Harrison was a 3-year starter. Darnell Wright was a 3-year starter, and Peter Skoronski was a 3-year starter. Okay, that means something, right? Yes, you want the physical tools, and if you're looking at physical tools, yes, Broderick Jones has got that. Paris Johnson's got that, 100%. Like, I'm not sitting here denying that. Those two guys have the physical attributes to be tremendous tackles, but they are inexperienced. Now, yes, they went to Ohio State and they went to Georgia, two tremendous programs. And a lot of their issues are technique issues. So Adrian Clem should be able to teach them that. So if you get one of those guys in here, great, go right ahead. I think we just need a tackle in here, right? If it's a right or left. Again, my crushes are Anton Harrison and Darnell Wright. I like those guys. Matthew Bergeron from Illinois, he is good too. I do like him. He had a tremendous combine too. He's super athletic, very athletic. So I definitely can see him maybe sneaking in there like early second, late first, maybe depending on his pro day goes. And the last thing I'm going to talk about at O-line is Blake Freeland from BYU. Now, this guy, he blew the combine out of the water. I mean, he was tremendous at the combine. Again, technique issues. And I'm going to keep saying that because a lot of these prospects at O-line or at tackle are either they're technically sound or they just need help with the technique. It's nothing to do with their movement skills, their fluidness, their length, their speed. It's a lot of technique issues. And coaches, that's what you have coaches for. And this year, the Patriots hopefully have brought some people in to really help with those issues. So Blake Freeland from BYU, to me, is a guy who could possibly be a late second, maybe third. But again, he had a great combine, so he might sneak up there. If you're going to take a tackle later, he's somebody to look at. I don't know if he's my favorite. He's just someone to kind of keep an eye out for. So those are kind of my O-line combine prospects that kind of stuck out to me. And again, I know those are all the top names, but again, you need one of those top guys, right? And then you go for a depth guy like Talvestein from Alabama. He's definitely somebody I think could be a good depth signing. In the other position that I want to discuss quick is tight end. Okay. Report came out, Hunter Henry's here. He's not getting released, not getting traded. I didn't think that was going to happen. I think they're most likely going to sign him to an extension because that will lower his cap hit, right? He's at about 10. I think they restructure him. We could gain about $6 million in cap space, so that definitely is a help. I think that will be beneficial for the team in general. Because again, you have Hunter Henry here. He's a very good player. He's solid. I'm not saying he's this extraordinary guy, but he's a very solid tight end. And you need those kind of guys in the NFL, right? Again, I don't mean to pick on Jonnu, but it hasn't worked out here. Again, and I hope Bill O'Brien, Jonnu can be unlocked and they can actually use him appropriately and correctly, and that will really help this team kind of go places. But he's definitely, I think, that you need to potentially see what he does, because if he doesn't do well, I think they're going to release him next year. So Hunter Henry is going to be back. We all know that Jonnu is here. But I think they need to get another tight end in here because, again, if you do release Jonnu next year, if he has a bad year, you need that next guy, right? Now, everyone's going to know about this name, Darnell Washington from Georgia, the 6'7", almost 270-pound tight end who's a freak of an athlete, tremendous combine, right? He ran if I'm mistaken, a 4.64 at that height, at that size. Like, what? What even is that? Right, he did very well in the agility drills. He was top in a lot of categories, actually, which surprised me a little bit. One of the best blockers. You watched him on the sled. God, the sled, it wasn't even like it looked like it was like a pillow the way he pushed that thing. It was ridiculous. So obviously he's the darling, the guy that I would love. But again, he's gonna be a first round pick now, and I don't think the Patriots are gonna go for a first round tight end again. Possibly could, just don't see it. Two guys that I personally like. I like my favorites are three guys. One of them would be Sam Laporta. Okay, he's from Iowa. We all know about the Iowa boys: T.J. Hawkinson, Noah Fant, George Kittle. Those are all that's tight end you right there. It really is. Sam Laporta is a little undersized, about 6'4", 245. So he's a little bit smaller, but man. He runs routes well, and he can get open. He is great after the catch. He's just a very solid, no-nonsense tight end, which that's what you would expect coming from Iowa. I just think that in general, that's kind of what they need to look out for. He's definitely somebody that I want to keep an eye out for there, just based on his pedigree, where he's coming from, what he's done. He's the lead. I'm pretty sure he's the leading receiver for Iowa. Once he left. So he's definitely a guy to keep an eye out for. Another name that I think is kind of going under the radar is Tucker Kraft. He, to me, he's all like Dallas Goedert that came from the same school. Dallas Goedert became a great tight end with the Eagles. We all know his story, what he's done. He was great in the Super Bowl. So I think Tucker Kraft can follow a similar path depending what team he goes to. He's a big boy. He's about 6'5", 255, so he's got size on him. I think he's definitely somebody to keep an eye out for, just because of he could be a later round, I don't want to say later round. I say like second or third round tight end. And I think it's definitely a place to look at. The other thing that I think this team needs to look for going forward is other guy. Now, this guy is my draft darling. This guy is like, he lit up the combine. He lit it up. Zach Kuntz. Okay. Old Dominion. You never thought about that. But he actually was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. Went to Penn State. Didn't work out for him there. So he transferred to Old Dominion. But he's big. He's about 6'8", 255. So he's a little bit on the lighter side for his height. I think he gained a little bit of weight. I think he probably could play at 265, depending on, if he doesn't lose a step or two. But he blew up his combine. He ran a 4.55, one of the best times, only behind Will Mallory from Miami. He had the second best time at tight end, and he's a later round guy that I'm keeping my eye out for. Third, fourth round guy who, needs development. That's why you have Hunter Henry. You still got John, who I think if you get him in there, it's definitely going to be a plus for them. Again, he's coming off an injury. He had kneecap surgery, so that's definitely – people were very surprised that he even actually competed at the combine just based on that surgery he had. But he performed really well. He looked fluid in and out of his routes. He caught the ball very well. Sometimes during the gauntlet show, he did let it get inside to his chest a little bit, but overall, I think he had a very solid combine that definitely raised his stock. I think that watching him, he's that later round, like I said, later third, fourth round guy the Patriots should definitely look at. Again, I don't have any resources about what they're looking for. I do know, like first round, they're definitely going to look at tackle or trade back. But again, tight end could be a sneaky need in the later rounds. That's definitely people that I'm keeping an eye out for on the tight end list. And again, you got your Michael Mayers, you got all those guys, but I don't think they're going to go for them unless one of them wows them at the pro day. But I don't think that's going to be exactly what's going to happen. So let's quickly get into just some receivers. I think I want to just go over a few receivers. Just again, Patriots need receivers. I don't know how else to say it. I think that watching this combine, I definitely really enjoyed watching Jackson Smith-Njigba from Ohio State. Man, is he fluid in his movements. His route running is ridiculous. His release off the line is something to watch. And I think that's definitely a guy who could potentially be there at 14. Now, that one's hard because you definitely think about this team and saying, well, why are they going to go receiver? It's the first round. Again, thinking about N'Keal Harry and all that, but they're different players. Jackson Smith-Njigba is actually a really good player, in my opinion. I think somebody that definitely could be a great piece for us, especially if Jacoby Myers does leave in free agency. But, he is definitely somebody that I'm going to keep an eye out for. He has that movement. He's about 6 foot, a little, almost 200 pounds. He runs like a running back. But again, he came off an injury, the hamstring injury that really derailed his last season there. He didn't run the 40. So we're going to have to wait and see what his 40 is all about. Is he more quick than fast? I'm not sure. Watching on tape, he has good movements, but again, he gains separation based on his route. So if you have the good route runner there, that definitely is something that's going to help you. Now, a couple of guys that maybe people don't really hear about as much is, I think the Patriots are definitely looking at slot receivers. They got the big guy Park on the outside, Moore can play inside and out. So, and then you got Tyquan Thornton who also plays the outside. So I think that's definitely, you want to look more at that shifty slot. We all know about Zay Flowers. He ran a 4.42. Zay Flowers, great player, BC boy, from the hometown. But I think he's going to be an early, like a mid first round pick, mid to late. And I just don't see the Patriots going for that early. Again, unless it's Njigba at 14, but besides, I don't really see them doing that. He's definitely a guy that I think people obviously know about. He gained a lot of weight. He's 185 now, so he definitely has the size to play a little bit better now. The guy that I'm low-key looking out for is Josh Downs from North Carolina. He ran a 4.48. Now, he's a little bit shorter, a little bit slighter on the slider side, but he's a good player. He's definitely somebody that I definitely think could be a second-round pick. And if that's what they decide to do, go for a second-round receiver, he's definitely somebody I think that I would like them to look at. He just knows how to play the slot position. And again, he's shifty, he's fast. He has great movements, a good route runner. He's not bad in contested situations, but again, he's not really known for that. And if you're looking to get that kind of speed inside player, he's definitely somebody to keep it a low-key eye out for. Now, I've been hearing this name a lot, and it's Bryce Ford Wheaton from West Virginia. He ran a 4.38 at 6'3", 225. Like, think about that. He is a big boy. No one thought he'd run that fast, but he did. Again, he's a lot like Taekwon Thornton. He's bigger than Thornton, but they both play the same position. I just feel like it's going to be too much of a overlap. And I don't see them really doing that. But again, he had a great combine. He's definitely somebody to keep an eye out for there. I think whoever takes him is going to get a steal. I really do. I think he's that talented. I watch his tape. He's that big play threat, meaning like he's great in contested situations. He's tough. He's physical at the point of attack. So I definitely think he's somebody that whoever team gets him is going to be happy. If it's us, great. I just don't see that happening one bit. Now, Charlie Jones from Purdue is a guy that nobody thought was going to run as fast as he did, but he did. He ran a 4.43, so definitely he ran quicker than people thought he would. He is that prototypical slot receiver for the Patriots. Like, he is that kind of guy that I think the Patriots really could look at. He could be a 4th, 5th round pick. Underrated, really had that one great year this past year, but again, he came on. He got better each year. And he's your slot guy. That's what he plays. And I think that if you get him in here, he is a good late round flyer that I think the Patriots really should heavily consider. There was a guy, I apologize if I get this name wrong. I probably will, but Andrei Lozovas. Can't say the name, but you know who I'm talking about. He came from Princeton, and this guy, he's got it all, actually. He's got the build. He's got the speed. He ran a 4.43, so he definitely has the athleticism. He was a track star. Like, he could went to the Olympics in the track. That's how fast he is. He's a lot like Christian Watson. So if you watch football and you see Christian Watson for the Packers, he can follow a very similar path. I do like him. He has that build, but again, is that, kind of overlap with Parker. But again, Parker's here for this one more year. Don't know if they're going to resign him. So you get this guy in the building. Maybe you help there. But again, I just don't see the Patriots going for that big player, that big guy anymore. I feel like they truly need the slot receiver. And if they get him, great. I just don't think they're going to go for that guy. Now, one guy that really disappointed me, was Kayshon Boutte from LSU. This guy said that he came in here very confident that he was going to run a 4.3, and he did not. He ran a 4.5. He measured in about a 5'11", about 195, so a little bit lighter than people thought he would. He had a terrible combine. He did. I don't know what's going on with him. I know people were very excited about him last year. Going into this past year, he was ranked as number 1 receiver prospect to come into this draft, but a lot of things happen. I just unfortunately didn't work out the way everybody wanted it to. I just think that, in those type of situations, you need to take advantage of it, and he didn't. Now, his pro day is coming up. He could have a better pro day. Maybe he will, but he's not a guy that I'm looking out there for now. I think it's just it kind of happened. He moved on, and we'll see where he gets taken. I mean, if he's there in the 5th, 6th round, depending on his pro day, maybe I take a late flyer, because you never know with some good coaching what you get out of him. But again, I don't see a lot happening there in that situation there. So the last position I'm going to go over, like I said, this is going to be a quick live edition, but the last position I'm going to go over is running back, because you need that third down back. You all know about Bijan Robinson. I know Daniel Jeremiah posted that. Oh, don't be surprised if the Patriots draft Bijan at 14 because, zig and zag and all that. But no, don't take Bijan Robinson, please. Just don't. I don't want that. I don't think many people do. Yes, he's a tremendous running back, and I think he'll have a tremendous career. I just don't think it's going to be here. I don't think we need that. The only running back that I really think the Patriots could look at in the first round is Jahmyr Gibbs. Alabama connection, Bill O'Brien connection, tremendous pass catcher, which we need. Pair him with Stevenson. He's that kind of guy in the first round. But again, I don't see him being there. I just don't see that happening. Guys that I see are more realistic are Tyjai Spears from Tulane. He had a very good combine. He showed a lot in the pass catching situation, and I think that's definitely a place where we need that they're not bad. You got to spell Stevenson just based on what happened this past year. He had a down. He got gas in the Stevenson, so you need that true third down back because you got Pierre Strong, who I feel like could take a lot over for Stevenson. But yeah, I think Tyjai Spears is a really good, solid running back, very fast, very fluid, very athletic, great agility. I just think, you have to get him in the building and see what he can do. How's the pass protection? Again, Bill Belichick loves pass protection as a third down back, so if you can't do that, sorry, not happening. Two more guys that I think are definitely in consideration are Evan Hull from Northwestern. This guy, 5'10", 200 pounds, 205. He has the build. He looks like he can block. He played a lot of different positions, played fullback, H-back, even receiver a little bit. He's a good pass catcher. So he is a late round guy that I think he had a good combine. So I feel like he could potentially go to a 4th, 5th round guy. And again, that's fine. You need that back. So if he's there, take him. They're one of your 4ths if you think he's the guy. If you don't, then I understand. Now, Deuce Vaughn, this guy measured in at 5'5". He's the smallest guy to ever measure at the combine. Now, Deuce Vaughn, in my opinion, is that typical, small guy with a big heart, right? He's very talented. I don't want anybody misconstruing that. He's a very talented running back. Okay, it's unfortunate he's a smaller guy, but truthfully, he plays a lot bigger than he shows. You just got to give him the chance, right? Everyone's like, oh, no, J.J. Taylor. No, Deuce Vaughn's a lot better than J.J. Taylor was. No offense to Taylor, but Deuce Vaughn's a lot better. He's a really good pass-catching back. Watch him in the playoffs and in college football. He was tremendous, right? Against TCU, oh, my God, that run he hit up the middle for 60 yards, that's what he can do. And he's a good pass catcher out of the backfield. So, again, if you can look past his size – and if he can show you he can pass protect, he's definitely someone you need to look at just because I think he has the heart, he has the skills, he has the toughness, and he has the speed and the passing ability to be that third down back. So those are some of my guys that I really have enjoyed watching at this combine. The last thing I'm going to get into just before I end this is a little bit of Red Sox. That was my little combine tidbit of what I think the Patriots players they should be looking at, what I think they should be looking at. Again, I don't have any inside sources, but that's just my opinion of where I think they should go, and I think they will go. My last thing I want to discuss is the Red Sox, just because we haven't really discussed them a lot, and it is spring training. They are undefeated, a couple ties in there, but they're playing well. They really are. Some of these pitchers are proven to be better than I thought. Chris Sale came in 2 innings the other night, boom, showed what he could do. He's throwing 95, he's got gas. He can throw. Right. So I think if he takes a big step forward, that'd be great. We all know about this past game, Justin Turner, what happened to him. It was very unfortunate, very devastating. A lot, was not easy to watch. But again, we got the update that he's doing well. He had 13 or 14 stitches, but nothing broken. So that's definitely a positive. Don't know when he'll be back, but again, they're playing well, this team. The young guys are showing out. Brian Mata has shown. Chris Murphy has shown. Brandon Walter has shown out. Even Carter Crawford and those kind of guys. It's good to see that depth is paying off that we need going forward. Because, again, Garrett Whitlock might not be ready. James Paxton probably not going to be ready. Brian Bale, I don't know what's going to happen with him. I mean, you hope he's ready, but we're not sure. So I think that having that depth in the minors is going to be really a positive for us this year. And a couple of hitters who have really shown out. Tristan Casas, everyone was like, this is your first baseman. Yeah, he's proven it. 2 home runs, opposite field, right field, good defense. He's played well this spring training. He's proven to be a really good player. And both his home runs were off lefties, which is a very positive sign because he was not a good lefty hitter when they brought him up from the minors last year. Christian Arroyo, decent spring. Had that grand slam the other game. He's showing some things that he can hit for power. Again, not the best spring training, but nothing bad either. So he's your second baseman. Kike Hernandez has been a good leader. Not a great spring training, but again, he is your shortstop. We'll see about Mondesi and where he fits in this whole situation when he comes back. Bobby Dahlback, again, this guy has proven it time and time again that spring training is his thing. But can he bring it over to the regular season? Because he could spell Devers, put Devers at DH. It would be really helpful again, or they trade him. I mean, that's just the way it is. Verdugo's looks decent. Jaron Duran, he changed his batting stance from being all the way up here. He's brought it down more, and he looks like a little bit more of a complete hitter. Again, we'll see. Defensively is where I have my question mark for him. I just don't know what he is as a center fielder. He has the speed, but again, you got to get those jumps in there and see what he can do in that situation there. Catcher, you lost Connor Wong for a little while, so now Jorge Alfaro, who has played tremendous hitting-wise, he's been great. Defensively, we'll see where he's at, but he's working with Veritek. We all know what that means. So if he can be just a average defender and hit well, that's a plus for you. Because you got Reese McGuire's going to be your mostly main catcher. And Devers is doing his thing. Don't really have to say much about him because he'll be fine. I know he will. And then Masataka Yoshida is now the WBC. Just saw he had a base clearing triple, so that was nice to see. He is definitely somebody that I think was showing off in spring training. He didn't play a lot, obviously, because he had to get ready to go to Japan, but he did prove a lot, and I think that he's definitely somebody to bank on. We have to, and I don't think he's gonna be a leadoff hitter. Cora said it. He might be your fourth guy. Like truthfully, that's to figure out the leadoff hitter, but that is kind of where they are. The Red Sox, again, it's spring training. Yes, they're winning, but we'll see when the whole squad's together. We'll see about the other teams when their squads are together. But overall, I think that's been great. And the last little tidbit is some quarterbacks getting signed. Like I said, Derek Carr going to the Saints. I think that's going to be a great place for him just based on the receivers they have. Their defense is good. We'll see what Dennis Allen can do with the actual kind of quarterback. Daniel Jones, 4 years, 160. He got his money. He had that one good year with Brian Daboll, so we will see what he is going forward. I mean, he's young. They franchise tag Barkley, but I just don't know what he is yet. I mean, he had a good year, but that's a lot of money for the guy. So we'll have to see on that situation there. And good for Geno Smith. He got his money, and he deserves it. Comeback player of the year, 32 years old, was a first-round pick, a guy people really underestimated, and he went to a great place in Seattle, and he proved to them he can play. So I don't think Seattle's taking a quarterback early. They got Geno maybe next year, but it's Geno's team, and good for Geno. And we'll kind of see where everybody else kind of falls into place once free agency kind of picks up. Like I said, we will have a live free agency update as time goes on, just because I think we're going to have to really get into that nitty gritty, meaning like you got Jacoby Myers, you got John Jones, you got a lot of players that are going to be free agents, a lot of players that are released. You got Orlando Brown Jr., who didn't get franchise tag from Kansas City, and he's a left tackle, one of the best left tackles on the market. So we will have to kind of wait and see where his market plays out. Again, he is a tackle that he's going to cost money. The Patriots are willing to pay him, great, but he will cost a lot, and you do have other positions. Maybe you look at Jawan Taylor or Mike McGlinchey, but if you want that guy, the stud, that is Orlando Brown Jr. He had a tough beginning of the year, but he turned it around. So we're going to have to kind of see how that free agency plays out. It did open up. Next Wednesday is when it officially opens up. So make sure you guys tune in next Wednesday, because I will be doing, me and hopefully my buddy Garrett, both of us will be doing a live free agency edition of the NFL, because I really want to get into kind of what free agents Patriots should look at, where we're going with that, what the draft's going to look like. And again, going forward, early April, we're going to be doing a live mock draft for the NFL draft. That's going to be a lot of fun, probably doing on Draft Network. That's kind of what we're going to be using, the tool we'll be using. But overall, I think that that will be a really good thing to see. Any last thing I want to talk about? Just it's going to be an exciting time again. I know the NFL is starting back up again. You got free agency coming up, the draft, pro days, all those fun things, and it's really going to be something to kind of witness. And so you'll hopefully be hearing a lot more. We would definitely be getting a lot more information out there, podcast wise, even on like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, anything that we can do to make sure you guys get the proper and necessary knowledge and updates. I think that that's the biggest key here, is that we want to make sure we're up to date with our information. And I hope today, even though it was just me, prove to you guys that we have some good things going on. And I'm definitely going to keep up with my research to make sure I have a good free agency plan coming into next week. But again, tune in either this Saturday or next week. I will be doing our typical Saturday podcast. That one might not be live, but if it is, I will update all you guys on that. But overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this live edition, and I'm glad that I could kind of get this thing going on live. I know we struggled last time, but again, this is the key for us going forward, is to stay up to date, keep it live on this. And again, guys, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, like our videos, because again, we're trying our best to really get this thing going again. And for whoever's watching right now, even though you came in a little bit later, appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. And again, this video will be posted up. So everyone have a good night, and enjoy yourself.